First-person shooters. Before we even get into actually discussing what was the first-person shooter, we have to actually define what it is. First-person shooter is anything done in the first-person perspective that shoots
projectiles.
Yeah, that shoots projectiles. So that includes arrows, bullets, magic powers. Doesn't matter if it's in first-person perspective and you're shooting something, you fall into that genre. All right. The first-person shooter was a game by the name of Spasm, and Vic is very mad at me, as you can read from up there. Spasm was made in 1974, which is like forever ago. So what was Spasm? Spasm was a wireframe flight simulator that basically linked up a whole bunch of computers. The network that it required to run this program was insane. You had, I think it was 5 different galaxies, 15 computers per galaxy, each person controlling one of the computers. Okay? Wow. The game was actually had a refresh rate of 1 frame every 2 seconds. Alright? So it was a long, drawn-out first-person shooter game. It was a flight simulator, but what made it so important is what it led to. Of course, it was also the first time we saw first-person and like an attempt at 3D. I've not seen any of the actual video of it because you just can't find any video of it, but judging by a refresh rate of every 2 seconds, I imagine it was pretty crummy. But what led from there was that they started actually using this technology when it came to training people in the military. And what ended up coming from that was a series of tank simulators for the military. The tank simulators were very, very high-tech. They all used wireframe. And one time, game producer, military man kind of mixture was like, why are we not bringing this to the public? Well, the number one answer was, it's way too complicated to drive a tank. So they dumbed down the tank system to a 2-joystick tank system and came out with the first public first-person shooter by the name of Battlezone.
Thank you for fixing that. That was driving me crazy.
What is he fixing?
I had no.
That's okay. That's okay. Now,
hey, you're not supposed to be talking for the rest of your time here, correct?
Yeah, Ashley.
I know.
You already broke your own solemn vow.
You're so bad.
Jeez.
You're so bad. So we got a picture up there for Battlezone by chance?
Battlezone? You didn't say anything about Battlezone.
It's written right here.
Oh, is it?
Spasm. I imagine Wolfenstein 3 is the next slide.
Yeah.
I will continue talking about Battlezone.
See if I can find one.
He's going to search up some Battlezone. Battlezone was an arcade machine that used 2 joysticks to play. Just like how nowadays, whenever we play our first-person shooters, we have 2 joysticks to control both the movement of your gun and also the movement of your own self. They did the same thing. There was games before, such as Robotron, that used double joystick play, but Battlezone was, as you can see here, it's a wireframe game.
It's an Atari game.
When this game came out, there was so many hilarious rumors about it, about people saying, well, it's a military program that they brought to the arcades, which is true. This is pretty much a carbon copy of the military training simulator that they made. But people started saying that it was going to brainwash children, just like how military people are brainwashed to kill, that this was part of the brainwashing process, and that people were going to, like, kids were going to start, like, going on, like, blood rages because of it.
You didn't hear the other one. There was one where they said that they were actually controlling real tanks somewhere playing this game.
It's true.
They said that they had kids that they were training kids to kill by letting them play this game because this game linked up with the network.
The network!
And was controlling a tank somewhere that was literally killing people.
Yes. That's how scared people were of technology. Which, this is pretty much from the birth of the first-person shooter. We can see that there's been controversy basically from the very start of it. First-person shooter is one of the most controversial subjects, more controversial than fighting games or any other genre, period. Because first-person shooters normally involve killing other people. So that brings us to the first very, very, very successful first-person shooter by the name of Wolfenstein 3D.
Ah!
What the hell? You don't even know how to run this?
It's not working right.
I love that picture.
Dude, I know what I'm doing. Except I can't get the damn thing to run right. So, look, I got you some good pics. Shut up.
It is. I love that picture of Wolfenstein 3D. Now, Wolfenstein 3D is basically a game where you play a United States soldier sort of thing, and Because that's what the U.S. military looks like, just
All
so
of
you
them.
know.
That's exactly what they all look like.
That's exactly what they all look like. And you're taking down Nazis. One of the bosses was like a mechanized Hitler, which was hilarious. Like he had big, humongous like turret guns, and they all started like German-esque sounding stuff that wasn't even German. Like you'd shoot them, they'd be like, "I'm blaming," but it wasn't anything in German. They just like made it sound German, and it was for the PC. It was a moderately successful game. It became more popular once its brother came out the following year, if I'm not mistaken, actually. Yep, it was the next year. And the next game to come out, which is huge, was Doom.
Yeah, he's wasting ammo with that picture, by the way. He was like
No,
firing up.
you have to remember, they never had to reload.
It's true. Alright, so Doom is quite possibly the most influential first-person shooter ever made, just because it pretty much wrote all the rules and solidified them. It took everything that was great about Wolfenstein and made it better. Basically, Wolfenstein was like a maze game where you went through a maze killing anything that you saw. You did the same thing with this one, but the textures were better, the villains were better, there was more levels, the storyline was better. The storyline, now is it Mars or the Moon? That's what I always forget.
Mars.
It's Mars. The storyline of Doom is that basically that hell has been, like a gateway to hell is opened up on Mars, and you're basically going to go like kick hell's ass. Very deep story, but it was deeper than Wolfenstein's, which was there's a Nazi.
Nobody likes Nazis.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you like Nazis. No one. Kill them. Doom. It's
I have old school picture for you.
an old school. Oh yeah, and then you got the new one.
The
Now, Doom, just like Wolfenstein, instead of using wireframe like some of the stuff in the 80s and 70s, they used actual like sprites. The funny thing about the sprites was that there was only really two positions for the sprites, forward and sideways. And so, if you ran to the side of your opponent, he would always be like sideways to you, no matter which way he was actually facing. Doom had a two-player mode that was basically a deathmatch mode, and it wasn't used that much because honestly, what made Doom huge was the fact it was freeware. So you could get Doom completely for free, just download it, and it would be on your computer. Doom is the only video game that to this day is still banned in a lot of companies' handbooks. If you have a company that's really old, lots of times their handbook will say the playing of the video game Doom can result in termination because they would lose so much money because their employees would actually spend most of the time playing Doom. Now, what really is important, at least to me about Doom, is along with Mortal Kombat, these two games are basically responsible for the ESRB rating system. And everybody here knows what that is? Yes? Yes. Alright. Do you know what it is, Noob?
Noobarella.
Good.
Yes, master.
You're not allowed to do that, remember? You're not Japanese.
I am not Japanese. So. Alright, so let's move on to the next big thing, which is Duke Nukem 3D, also released by id Software. Now, Duke Nukem,
There goes that dang army guy again.
You got my picture. It's like you knew what I was going to be covering.
Dude, I know my stuff.
Because you're not.
I know nothing about any video games on Earth.
That's okay. That's okay. I hope you find it
I
kind
can
of.
play Call of Duty. That's it.
You can play
We're
Call of
working our
Duty,
way
you're
to it.
fine.
I hope you find this somewhat interesting. So, Doom brought in a basic multiplayer mode, which was kind of dropped out when it came to Duke Nukem. Now, Duke Nukem was, once again, also done off the sprites, but basically, just like how Doom was like a steroid top version of Wolfenstein, Duke Nukem did the same thing with Doom. This time you're dealing with aliens, but still, it's just like an insane game. It has great graphics, a lot of really nice basic puzzles where you're going around finding key cards and pressing buttons in the right order, but its controversy was out of this world. For starters, in Doom and Wolfenstein, you were clearly playing a good guy, killing off the evil. This guy, he did steroids in the game.
He's a womanizer.
He's a womanizer. He kills innocent people. You're allowed to kill innocent people. There's no innocent people in like Doom. Well, in Doom 2 there were, but like here in this game, there's this in the first level you can go down into the sewers, and there's this poor lady who's like tied up, and you can't get her loose, but you can shoot her and make her explode. One of my favorite moments in Duke Nukem is, which he has depicted here, is you can actually pay a stripper money to take off her clothes. They have strip clubs in the actual game. And if you walk up and get close to her and press the fire button, instead of firing his gun at her, he will whip out some cash. She'll open up her shirt and show some T-tops with little tassels on it.